Hello, and welcome to episode 93 of Expertise is Overrated, the podcast that takes the time to answer the questions you didn't know you didn't want the answers to. I'm Sean.
And I'm Vib, and neither one of us has any clue what we're talking about.
Which explains why I thought the Seven Kingdoms only had seven kingdoms. That, or perhaps I'm just thick as a castle wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
Enough said, really.
Done me like a kipper twice there.
How many kingdoms do you think the Seven Kingdoms have?
It feels like seven is definitely the wrong answer. So the seven kingdoms are the North, the Riverlands and the Iron Islands. No, that's one kingdom. Because it's one kingdom when Aegon takes it. The Vale, the Stormlands, the Reach, the Westerlands and Dorne. The Westerlands and Dorne.
I think that's so Dunc's point, not Dunc's point. That's totally
Egg's
the wrong
point.
character. Egg's point is very much that what we have: the Crownlands, the Riverlands, the Westerlands, the Stormlands.
Yeah, so he counts the Crownlands.
Yeah, the North, the Reach, Dorne, the Iron Islands, and the Vale.
Yeah, it's madness.
Yeah, I mean, so I hadn't thought about the Iron Islands and the Riverlands being the same thing, but you're absolutely right. Because in my head, I was just like, well, the Crownlands obviously not.
Yeah,
because it's not a thing. And I also wasn't going to include Dorne.
I mean, that's the other way to look at it, is that Dorne only joins the realm in the time of Daeron II, in Egg's time, essentially. Yeah. But I mean, I really liked the. I love the way we'll come onto it, but I like that Doug's response is essentially "you're fucking mental," to it, and Egg says, "I don't see how that's relevant," or it barely seems relevant, hardly seems relevant. So,
yes, I mean we are of course talking Game of Thrones, but
specifically the
two guys wandering around getting into trouble.
The absolute phenomenon that is HBO's Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. And I particularly enjoyed that for the last one they actually changed it to Knight of the Nine Kingdoms.
Did they?
Yeah, they did a little opening.
I didn't notice that. That's very, very funny. I have to apologise to everyone for the tone and timbre of my voice being absolutely shot to shit today.
It is noticeable, because I thought when you warned me about this on Monday morning, I was like, he's full of shit.
No, I mean, on Monday morning, I was cancelling meetings because I had no voice at all. The only meeting I attended on Monday was one that I was not in control of.
Yeah.
And I said hello to everyone, and they laughed at me. Like, that's how bad it was on Monday. It is now Thursday.
I should clarify that I'm not just taking the piss because of some illness that you have.
Yeah, no, I mean,
this is entirely self-inflicted.
I think it's about 95% self-inflicted. There is some lurgy in my house again. So I think
that's constant at this point. Yeah.
I think some of what is happening is either new cold or residual cold that's flaring up, but 95% of this is going to Murrayfield for the greatest game of rugby that was ever played and ever will be played, followed by going to the pub to watch the second greatest game of rugby that will be played or ever has been played.
I think you're objectively not wrong, but I'm
not wrong about either
the second game.
I'm not wrong about either of those. So we're not a rugby podcast. We maybe should be a rugby podcast. I don't
think I could do that any justice, but sure.
Had you stopped the clock at 65 minutes in the Scotland-France game, it would be just the greatest game of rugby ever. The sheer scale of the performance for the first 65 minutes. But I don't think you can remotely discount the achievement for Italy beating England, who were 2 years ago 3 years ago World Cup contenders.
Yes.
Anyway,
First time in 33 times.
first time,
Mask
yeah, first time they've ever beaten England. Yeah. It's incredible. And they just beat at the start of this tournament. They beat Scotland, who just put 50 points past France. Like it's completely fantastic for rugby. That's not what we're here to talk about.
Well, you say that. I think the 14 men who fight in the Trial of Seven, how would they have given... I think they could have beaten England.
Could the 14 men who fought in the Trial of Seven beat in England? Well, let's...
Maybe not at rugby.
I don't know. I mean, you've got Baylor Breakspear is an out-and-out number 10.
Yeah, who clearly, even though half his skull is missing, doesn't quite realise and just keeps going.
Just keeps going and also saves Dunc's life at the last. Makar is a 15 who always wanted to be a 10.
That's unnecessarily harsh on old Makar. Actually, we're obviously clearly talking about the TV show.
Yes.
The adaptation that's just come out on HBO. That's what I alluded to. I think Makar comes across so much better in this TV show than he did in the book to me.
I think that's right. I think they've really fleshed him out a little bit. They fleshed them all out, to be fair. They've got more time. It's about 200 pages than 150, 200 pages, something like that, the novella. And you really don't have much time with any character other than Dunc and Egg. And I think everything that they did to flesh out the characters has really, really improved all the characters. I don't think there's anyone who's come out of the adaptation worse, in quotation marks, than in the book.
I think you're absolutely right. And it needed to be done for the TV show, right? Because you can't do what they do in the books where, I mean, obviously it's POV, right?
Yeah,
you're in Dunc's head, as it were. Yeah. So I think they really fleshed it out. But no, I think that's being very harsh on Makar, 15 who always wanted to be a 10. Although, well, actually saying that, it's been a while since I read the novella, but I feel like he wasn't... There's nothing about him that suggests he wanted to be the next in line. Right?
No, so he's also not the next in line. So this is the whole how Egg ends up as Aegon the Unlikely. Makar is the fourth legitimate son of Daeron II. Baelor Breakspear is the first. Baelor Breakspear has a son. And I think the two in between, one of them has a son and one doesn't, or something like that. There are 6 or 7 people between Makar and the throne, and everything that we see of Makar and Baelor is that they are a fantastic team who love each other dearly. And I almost think that's almost missed ever so slightly, because Makar is so surly the whole time, which, I mean, you would be too if Aerion was your son and Egg was your son and Daeron was your son, right? You'd be frustrated with those children.
I think you would be, yes.
But I think that might be the only bit that's missing. Like, they don't go into any of the fact that it was Baelor and Makar who broke Daemon at the Redgrass Field, right? They broke his arm, Daemon Targaryen's army, working together. They are a perfect combination, and everything seems like they got on fantastically, which makes Makar's probable killing of his brother so much more tragic, I think.
Probable?
I mean, so in the show, it's certain, because we see the blow that does it. In the book, it's almost certain.
Wait, do we see the blow that does it?
Yeah, you do. If you go back through, so after Dunc gets up and is like dragging Aerion, and Aerion has said yield, but no one hears him. There's a snapshot of, I'm fairly sure it's Lionel and Baelor fighting Makar, and you see Makar, because he's just flailing around trying to get to Aerion, and you see he just sort of like backhand lashes out with his
is that when that happens?
mace, Morningstar, whatever that thing was, and it just smacks straight into the back of Baelor's head, and he drops. Or he doesn't drop, he like stumbles away.
Yeah. Yeah, well spotted. Because that fight was really, really visceral.
Oh, it was really,
quite hard
really
to follow,
well
which I guess is the point.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. We have a structure. We've deviated wildly from the structure from the get-go. Do I take it from your effusions that you enjoyed this as much as I did? Because I've been telling everyone to watch it.
It is the best, certainly the best George R. R. Martin adaptation I have ever seen.
I think that's right. I think
Probably
it's
the best HBO show I've ever seen, yeah.
I think it's as good as, if not better than, season 1 of Game of Thrones. I think it's better.
It's a completely different tone. I fully accept that, but it just happens to be a tone that I much preferred. Well, maybe it just happened to be when I was watching it, but I remember myself just smiling and laughing for the first few episodes.
It's legitimately funny.
Yeah, I think it's better, almost. And I do have to caveat that by saying I know how Game of Thrones ends, and I cannot get past it. So,
yes,
therefore,
yes, and we're going into this with eyes wide open. And they had a complete story to adapt. They almost word for word lifted elements of the book into the show, and that book or that novella has a start, a middle, and an end, and they put all of those in the show.
Yeah, because when I saw it was 6 episodes, I think, right?
Yeah, 6 30-minute episodes. It's so tight. It's so tightly done.
Yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that we're 30 minutes actually the episodes. But then I also thought, it's quite a lot of TV to get through what is not a very long book.
Yeah,
it's not even a book, right? I mean, as such. So, but absolutely nailed it. I don't think that there was any moments that dragged too long. They didn't skip anything.
I didn't need, I don't think, quite as much of Dunc's backstory as we got, but that is probably a slight, because I knew where it was going, we took a big detour right just as the action felt like it was starting.
Yeah, actually, I think you're absolutely spot on, because I remember having a slight sort of bout of frustration. I was like, we all know we're trying to get to the trial here. Let's just get there without having to do the preamble.
Show me the trial.
But I thought the preamble was still good, particularly when Sir Arlen shows up and just. I love. That's what a great fight that is.
I loved Sir Arlen showing up and just absolutely annihilating 2 members of the City Watch.
Pissed out of his mind.
Absolutely pissed out of his mind. I liked the way that it showed us that the City Watch were like these terrifying martial figures to Dunc and his companion, whose name has gone straight out of my head. But that poor girl who gets murdered by them. And then Sir Arlen appears on scene, and he's just like the next level as compared with them. And then through the show, we see that actually Sir Arlen was great, and he was an absolutely top knight. But he was also kind of a bit of a shitter. And he's not got a patch on, your Baelors or your Lionels or anyone, or where Dunc is going to end up.
Yeah, 60 years and no victories.
60 years and no victories. Right? No one remembers his name.
Yeah. It's a fascinating concept, I think, generally, Hedge Knights, I will say. I think that they're so interesting.
Yeah, I think
so.
And
Sir Arlen, I think, is such a great example of someone who's like, I guess in some ways reputable.
The truest form of knight.
Yeah.
All he does is ride around the country, fulfilling his vow over and over and over and over again.
Where services are required, he will provide. So, mostly to sustain his alcohol problem.
Mostly to sustain his.
I guess motivation is sort of neither here nor there.
Alcoholism.
But if any, he's instilled, absolutely the right qualities in Dunc, or perhaps elevate them, because I guess we're meant to believe that he was always quite a sort of a good-hearted person.
And I think it's probably fair to say that we have Sir Arlen to thank for the king that Egg becomes.
Whew, that's a bit of a step. He's definitely played his part.
Not exclusively, but he did right by Dunc, and the point that Dunc makes to Maekar at the end of the show is you need someone different in Egg's life, because I bet Daeron never slept in hedges, and I bet Aerion always had good food. And you don't want another one of those two, is the unsaid part of that.
It's pretty loudly unsaid.
It's quite. I mean,
he understands it straight away.
He screams it from the rooftops. He just doesn't actually put it to word. I really like the portrayal of the Targaryens. I mean, we can come on to casting, but I think in terms of how they fit in the show and how they fit in the world. So the realm is reeling from Daemon Blackfire's rebellion at this point, which Baelor and Maekar and Brynden put down between them on the red grass field. But that looms large in the popular memory, and they have no dragons anymore. And Daeron II married a Dornish princess to bring Dorne into the realm, achieving what no other Targaryen has ever managed to do. But his heir, Baelor, looks Dornish, and they don't spend as much time on that in the show as they could have done. But
I don't know if they needed to.
I don't know, because
I think they cast him very well to just get that point across, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't look like Maekar and he doesn't look like Aerion.
Yeah, and he gives that slight Oberyn vibe, you know.
He does give good Oberyn vibe,
the broody
vibes.
sort of thing. Broody is very different.
No, he does give very Oberyn vibes. I think that's completely true. But yeah, I mean, their power is completely gone. Other than, their exceptional power is completely gone.
Yeah.
In the wake of the dance, really, which we're seeing through House of the Dragon. So it's interesting looking at everything that they do through that lens as well, I think. So obviously we hold up Baelor's fantastically not timed ride through the gates to come to Dunc's rescue. But I think there's some interesting stuff to be said there around exactly what he thought he was doing.
How do you mean?
So I think there's a number of lenses through which you can look at it. The first is he is doing the thing that he believes to be right. He believes that Dunc was justified in doing what he was doing. He believes that Aerion is a little shit. And so in the absence of anyone else who will take Dunc's side, he will, because he considers himself a true knight. And so he answers the call of, are there no true knights among you? But if he doesn't fight, then there are no Targaryens on Dunc's side. So even if Dunc could get some random landed knight in Lionel's service, that landed knight in Lionel's service, plus Dunc's merry band of 6, are going up against 3 Knights of the Kingsguard, 3 Targaryens, and a fucking Fossaway. Right, but it's if Baelor doesn't join Dunc's side, it's the crown and the institutions of the crown's power slaughtering a hedge knight for defending a member of the small folk against a member of the royal house. That's a horrific piece of publicity in front of Lionel Baratheon, Leo Longthorn, the Brute of Bracken, whoever you want to pick from that list. There's a Tully there. There's a Dondarrion there. There are great lords or sons of great lords there. So,
and the reverse or the inverse is true as well, right? As in, if through some miracle the merry band of 7 wins against that exact group without a Targaryen in their midst, it's going to arguably be even worse.
And Lionel's point, made at the very end, is that I think Lionel overstates it, but the statement of your prince risked nothing. Well, he didn't risk nothing because he fucking died.
He fucking died, yeah.
And he's one of a small number of people who died, and they were all on Dunc's side. But his point is he risked less than anyone else on Dunc's side.
Yeah.
Because he fought 3 men who were sworn to defend him, his brother, who loves him, and his 2 nephews. And he's the hand of the king and heir apparent to the realm. Like, if you're Lionel Baratheon, you don't have that protection if Maekar Targaryen comes swinging at you with a mace. Like, you don't have the same trappings of power that Baelor had.
Yeah, but you are Lionel Baratheon.
You are the laughing
We need
storm.
to dwell on, because, I mean, what a exceptional character. Fantastic. Loved every second of that guy. I mean, I think I messaged you almost straight away. It's like, I don't remember Lionel Baratheon being this funny and this cool in the books, but as you say, they don't really spend any time on these kind of characters, or not enough time.
He's not friends with Dunc in the novella. He becomes Dunc's ally as a result of the Trial of Seven. Yeah. But in the Trial of Seven, Lionel joins because it's a Trial of Seven. And they will tell stories of this, and they will sing songs of this, and my life is boring.
He says that in the show as well, right? He's like, wouldn't miss this. First Trial 7 in 100 years.
Obviously. But he's also... we see it almost after the fact when Dunc is being tended by the Maester. He says, come with me to Storm's End, and I will love you like a brother.
Yeah.
Or refuse me, and I will hate you like a brother, which I thought was very well put. But he... that closeness to Dunc isn't there in the novels. I don't think.
Which, I mean, there's a little bit of showmanship, I guess, right? Because it's probably... I mean, it depends how far the TV show goes, but you might well imagine the trial by combat against Lionel, right? At some point happening. And then I think they have to set the scene correctly.
It puts far more emotional punch into, if they get that far, Dunc putting down Lionel's rebellion in a trial by combat and then lifting Lionel back to his feet.
Yeah.
That you don't get to the same degree if you don't have the closeness built up this early, I don't think. He's also fantastically cast.
Fantastic, for many reasons, right? Because one of the things is Lionel Baratheon is meant to be a big man, tall man.
Big, like
and the thing is, he is big, and then Sir Duncan the Tall, or Dunc the Long, stands next to me like, oh my god.
I think they did a really good job of using Lionel to make it clear just how big Dunc is.
It by also giving him a ridiculous, not quite crown, I suppose, but
his antler crown is great. Thing, it's definitely not a crown. Because he wouldn't be allowed a crown, but it's also definitely the antler crown of the Storm Kings. Yeah. It's so good.
And it's great that Duncan wears it at one point as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed Duncan wearing it. Lionel just about steals every scene he's in.
But it's oddly true, I think, of a lot of the characters in the show, which is bizarre. Like, Duncan has this interesting effect. He somehow makes everybody else look good. Sounds like he's doing a terrible job somehow, but you know what I mean? Everybody around that character, because his character is so, like, affable, and he's a little bit likable, and he is a bit oafish, I think is probably the best way of saying it. Everybody around him is so, like, great as a result.
Certainly at this point in his career, he's completely oafish. That's exactly the right term for it. He lumbers around. He's scared of his own size. He does the thing that big people do, where he's always hunched over. He's quiet. He's reserved, and we see these flashes of the man that he is going to become when he leaps to Tanzal's defense, when he beats the ever-loving shit out of Aerion at the end of the Trial of Seven.
And just any interaction he's got with Egg, I think.
And all of his interactions with Egg are fantastic. Even after he learns who Egg is, he continues to not change who
It makes
he
no
is.
difference, right?
the first scene he has with the Targaryen brothers as well is amazing. It's so well done.
Where he's spying.
He's spying, and then, but he's got no shame. He genuinely believes he has a right to be there. So when Baelor says, Sir Arlen and I broke 4 lances against each other before I unhorsed him, and Dunc, without thinking, goes 7. It was 7, and you see Maekar is just like,
shit.
And Baelor has a hint of that. He has a hint of that. There's a very faint edge to his voice when he says, "The tale has grown in the telling, I fear, but it was 4 lances."
Yeah, I think you're meant to think to yourself, who's right, you know?
Yeah.
Was it maybe 5?
Was it? Yeah. Was it 5? Does it? But and then Dunc saying that, Sir Arlen always said that you would make a fantastic king. And then Maekar's like, oh my God, here we go, another person blowing smoke up my brother's arse. And then Dunc realizes that it kind of sounds like he wants Daeron II to die. So he then spends 5 minutes trying to row back from that. Yeah. And Maekar is just sitting there going, oh my God.
And then leaves the room saying, I hope your sons are not found dead.
I hope your sons are not found dead. And Maekar's just like, where do they find these people?
But that's why I think, because I think Maekar in that whole scene is not quite endearing, but I think he handles it so well, as in just like this younger brother who's just kind of just had his fill of his stupid sons and his unruly sons.
And he has this big brother that he loves and who loves him and who he gets on well with, and he will probably be Baelor's hand when Baelor is king.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how they're working at the moment.
Which is why it's so much more tragic as well at the end, and he says it, right? People will whisper of all these things, how we killed the great Baelor Breakspear.
When the crops fail, people will say that Baelor wouldn't have let this happen.
Yeah. And it's sort of, you can really get the impression in that scene is that he just didn't want that, right? At all. None of this is what he wanted.
No, he never wanted the crown. When he ends up heir, after everyone between him and the crown dies, and he becomes Prince of Dragonstone, he doesn't go to Dragonstone. He sits at Summerhall. He stays in Summerhall. That remains his seat until he becomes king. He doesn't want any of it, in a very sort of Jon Snowish way, I think.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah, incidentally, Aegon, or Egg, as likely to become King of Westeros as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is to become King of the United Kingdom.
Really?
Yeah. Go figure, right?
That's a fantastic statistic. That is a fantastic statistic.
Now, one man is definitely better than the other, even though he is fictional. But then I suppose it is at a phenomenally low bar. Anyway, that's an aside. That's an aside. No, so I think let's talk a little bit about casting. I mean, obviously, Dunc and Egg, the main characters, because we have to assume that while... And this is sad in some ways, right? I mean, obviously, Baelor we won't be seeing again for obvious reasons. Maekar we won't be seeing too often.
Maekar's not...
Lionel we won't be seeing very much of.
Maekar's not billed for season 2.
Yeah. Raymond Fossaway, like all these people, we're not really going to see them again.
No one from season 1 except for Dunc and Egg is in the season 2 billing. They've got a completely new cast of characters. They've got a fantastic new cast of characters for season 2.
I forget which one is season 2. Is that when he goes to?
That's the Cheeky Lion and Lady Roanne.
Yeah. That's going to be very interesting. A big change of pace, I think.
Very, very, very different.
Although Dunc does not have a way with the ladies, that much is obvious.
One thinks Lady Roanne may need to take a rather more proactive role. But I mean, Dunc and Egg are both fantastically cast, and I think
just spot on. Actually, I think.
Yeah, and they clearly, I don't know how much of the press touring that they've done, you have seen. But the two of them clearly get on really, really well as well. Like that. I mean, they're not mates because there's like 10 years between them. But they're colleagues who enjoy each other's company. I think.
Yeah. Was it Peter Claffey and I forget Egg's name? Hang on.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure about the fact
Dexter Sol Ansel, yeah.
I wasn't sure about the fact that Peter Claffey wasn't going to be doing an accent. He was just going to sound like Peter Claffey. Because partly it now means that the canon accent of Fleabottom is Irish.
That cannot surprise anybody.
Which I didn't have on my bingo card. But
I know all the Irish people listening are going to get pissed off, but it's absolutely the right call.
Absolutely bang on. But in a lot of ways, and I don't mean this to sound the way that it comes across, but Irish is exactly the right accent for Dunc.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We're not casting any aspersions about Irish culture.
But Dunc does.
It just worked. I mean, saying that, he could have come out with, a Cockney accent, which probably is actually where I thought Fleabottom would
I think
towards.
I think so, but I feel like if Dunc had a Cockney accent the whole way through, it would have really pissed me off.
It would have been the wrong side of funny, I think.
I think so.
Because it just works. And maybe it's because he delivers it very naturally, obviously, but it just works.
But it manages to get his sort of repeated incredulous what the fucks to Egg come out so nicely in that accent. It really nails the the fuck are you talking about, kid?
Yeah. You can just tell that internally he's just saying, yeah, fucking bollocks. That's just his internal monologue.
Yeah. Just constantly.
Which I think just the Irish just really works for it. And I mean, I don't recall seeing him in anything before. I mean, the name does sound familiar.
He's been in stuff, but he's not headlined anything.
But I think he's done absolutely fantastic job. He just looks so earnest doing it, which I think is quite a hard thing to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Dexter Sol Ansel is a fantastic find of a child actor.
Yeah.
And the contrast between him and Dunc works really, really well. My favourite thing about Dexter, though, is that he keeps spoiling things, including things that aren't actually true. So he spoiled that Henry Cavill was going to be in season 2 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And then the internet obviously exploded. So he had to come back out and do another interview with Peter Claffey, where Peter Claffey was like, "What did you do?" And he was like, "So I said this, and I see what people understood me to have said. And that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is I would like Henry Cavill to be in season 2 to deal with the whole Henry Cavill thing. But what I actually said was, in relation to season 2, oh yeah, the whole Henry Cavill thing." And obviously people thought that I was spoiled. It's really, really fun. He's done that loads of times. He spoiled actual stuff. But he's also just spoiled loads of stuff that's just not in there because he's so excited to be there and so excited to be doing it.
You can tell, I think, the character of Egg on screen is always very much like there's something just under the surface that's waiting to come out, right?
Yeah.
But he does it with such that sort of childish curiosity and...
He's childlike. He's like an actual kid. They've managed to capture that in the scenes that he's in. His like childlike glee and wonder when he's teaching, when he's working with thunder, or when he's like got his stick sword and he's pretending to put down the Blackfire Rebellion and stuff like that. He's just acting like a kid.
Yeah. And him on Dunk's shoulders and stuff it's all very endearing. But then the moments of like real wisdom somehow, from such a young individual. It's just and it really works with Dunc. Mm-hmm. I think because he's totally okay with it. Right?
Yeah,
because I think somebody else would sort of be like, "Oh, shut up, you little kid," even though the kid's absolutely right.
Yeah, definitely. The scene where Egg is like complaining about something, and Dunc is like, yeah, people have called me stupid all my life. And Egg says, like, wait a minute for the wisdom that's coming. And Egg says, so what do you do? And Dunc's like, what do you mean? He's like, when people call you stupid, what do you do? And Dunc's like, never you mind. Lest your lip or you get a clout around the ear. And Egg's just sitting there like, and it's like the only time he looks at the camera, but he looks dead on at the camera, puts his arms out and just like shrugs his shoulders like, what? And it shouldn't work. It should completely break the fourth wall, the way it's shot. But for some reason, I think because the character of Egg is so childlike, it does work because you can genuinely picture a child just being really confused by what's just happened.
But there's something about that, I think, throughout the show that you're never far off of that fourth wall break, I feel like, somehow. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It's just... we're meant to kind of see behind the curtain, right? Of like, oh, this character's almost like this blank canvas, and we're all going to be along for the ride, you know? And it's like he knows he's a blank canvas. He knows where he's going to end up, right? And one of the most renowned Kingsguard of all time. Mm. So there's something really special there. I mean, maybe.
Well, I think what's telling is that Egg names his oldest son after Duncan. Right? When all is said and done, when Egg is sitting the throne, he names his eldest son, his firstborn heir, the next king of the Seven Kingdoms, Duncan. And it's not a remotely Targaryen name. It's not anything like that. He's just, Duncan is the most important person to name this child after. And then he goes and falls in love with Jenny of Oldstone, so he falls out the line of succession. But that's kind of by the by. Dunc has to beat the shit out of Lionel Baratheon to stop Lionel Baratheon rising in rebellion. Kids.
I mean, he did rise in rebellion, just wasn't a very long one.
Wasn't a very long one.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think both characters work really well together. I think both in the books are a fantastic pairing, right? And I think they handled the reveal very well.
Yes,
of him when he sort of comes to Dunc's rescue. And Dunc's like, get out of here! What are you doing? He's like, no, you will unhand this man.
Yeah.
And then just how fucked up the Targaryens are. Actually, it's
remarkable,
mental. I think the show does a really good job of. I mean, I speak like I've been there, but it does a really good job of capturing that sort of actual gritty Middle Ages vibe.
So I
feel we didn't quite see that much of, certainly in later seasons of Game of Thrones, right? And that we don't really see in House of the Dragon at all.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to end up talking about it, but the opening scene of the first and second episodes, I think, gets you that more than anything else. Well, not quite the opening scene, but a very early scene in the first episode is Dunc taking a shit.
Yeah.
Which
people were up in arms about. I feel it was the only thing I knew about the show before I watched it.
Is that you actually see Peter Claffey taking a dump, and you see the whole thing. I didn't need it. Like I don't quite know why it's there, but
I thought it was a funny play on the theme tune. And I think the showrunner came out and said that it was probably a little bit overdone.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think it sets the tone because this is here. We're in the Middle Ages.
It's lighthearted. It's irreverent a little bit. But then the trial by seven is the other. Sorry, the trial of seven is the other place where you really, really see it because. We've seen jousting. We see jousting at the Hand's Tourney, and we see jousting in House of the Dragon. And in both cases, we see it from on high. You don't ride really with the contestants, and also you're never down in the mud, and you never see the melee and all of that. And so to do the trial of seven, it's not quite a one shot, but it kind of feels like that. and just the mud. It felt. Have you seen The King? I think it's called The King with Timothy Chalamet as Henry V at Agincourt.
No.
So
I've heard of this. Yeah,
there's
seen snippets of that.
There's some fantastic night-on-night fighting in that, which looks very, very like the Trial of Seven. It's all wrestling in the mud. Sort of.
Well, isn't that one of the big scenes in that film that the King of France challenged him to duel and then just slips in the mud because he's not actually ever fought anything?
What's the difference? So it's the Dauphin, in his great plate regalia, right? Flower of chivalry, and Timothy Chalamet's got like a breastplate and leathers on. And the Dauphin can't stand up because the mud is churned from the cavalry charge and from the knights fighting and all of that. So he goes to swing, overbalances, falls over, and then gets up and then falls over again because he's overburdened. It's very well done.
Something that I did miss actually in the show here was Baelor saying we should use tourney lances.
I missed we should use tourney lances. I also missed what am I to them? A knight who kept his vows. And the showrunner, the writer, not the showrunner, Ira, somebody or other, came out and said it should have been in there. It's just a mistake that it's not in there, and they only realised that it wasn't there after, like in editing.
Really?
They just realised that the line had never made it in. And
as in they never recorded it?
No, it's not in the script. It should be in the script.
Oh, wow.
But they just never put it in.
That's funny.
It's just a mistake that no one caught. But she I think came out and said, it's the only thing I regret about the filming is that line's not in there, because that line is the soul of the Hedge Knight. It's the soul of that book, and it's not in there. But no, I also agree we should use tourney lenses. It would be good. It would work really well when Baelor's giving his like team captain speech, which ends with "try not to die."
Yeah, because it was a little bit sort of like he just swans in, saves the day, and is like, well, I'm going to fight the Kingsguard because they can't do anything to me. See ya, good luck.
Yeah.
It's like, a little bit more tactical advice, like saying, why don't you use the longer lances?
Yeah, we should use tourney lances because they are using war lances, and that'll give us 2 foot of reach. And if you make your strike, then you unhorse them.
But I can see why they didn't necessarily bother with that, because it's sort of you can't really show that in shot anyway. Especially because I think the way they handled it, right, where you sort of look through Dunc's eyes through that horrible little tiny slit in the helmet.
Yeah, it was really good.
Before you know it, he's been hit 5 times. Like, it's already complete carnage. No one's on their horse anymore at that point.
And the way at the end, after all the fighting's done, Dunc says who died, and it's like 2 of us died in the first charge. Beesbury and Harding both die in the first charge because they're struck by Kingsguard. They're riding against Kingsguard and they're struck by Kingsguard. And I think the fact that you don't see that, it would have been really easy to pan out and see like the 7 horses riding against the 7 horses, and then like zoom in on Beesbury taking a lance in the neck, and Harding being thrown from his horse and breaking his neck, or however you choose to do it. But the fact that you just don't see it because we're with Dunc the whole way, and the only
it goes very POV in that moment, which I do rate. I think actually,
all we see of the fight is Dunc's experience of the fight, and the chaos really adds to that, I think.
And you don't even see that much, right? Because he just gets knocked about for quite a bit, and then moves on with life. Talking of the Kingsguard, I thought that was one of the best iterations of them we've seen. Their introduction,
I like that.
And I think maybe because we've had such a bad run of Kingsguard in certainly Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I mean, because I guess in season 1, episode 1, you see Jaime Lannister, right? But I guess certainly someone who's read the books, you know what that means.
And also by the end of that episode, he's soiled.
Yeah. Oh, very true. Yeah, of course. Whereas in this one, you see you meet these 2, and one's a bit more of a dick, but he still just strikes. Just like, holy shit, that's a knight,
Yeah. And the way Sir Donald of Duskendale is like, really, he's nice. He's just nice to Dunc.
Just come from a family of crabbers.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it.
Yes, half the crabbers in Westeros.
But it reframes the how did you become a Kingsguard? Same way we became crabbers, by being really fucking rich.
Exactly.
But then all 3 of them make it through the Trial of 7 completely untouched. And part of
Well,
that's,
yeah, I mean, of course.
yeah,
Partly because they're fighting someone they
Baylor,
can't hit, and Baylor is not
really
exactly going
want
to
to
hit them.
hit
So you sort of wonder what that fight even looks like.
it feels like they probably attempt to defend themselves until Baylor but they're not allowed to strike him until Baylor gets them in a position where they have to yield.
But you sort of wonder why.
Why can't they force Baylor to yield?
Oh no, because there's three of them, right? And there's Maekar. I guess all three of them have got sort of a sworn duty to defend Maekar in many ways.
Yeah,
but surely one has to defend Arian, right? And is it Daron, right? So
Daron, but
and none of them do.
Daron probably takes a fall, like.
Well, he does. I think we see a shot of that, right? Because he says it before. Just hit me in the head and I'll go down. Yeah.
I'm not here for this. Daron's a right little shit. Like,
yeah, I don't. As the character goes, because he has this sort of premonition in the book, doesn't he? Like, doesn't he say like he dreams of Dunc? Does he say that?
We hear that. We see that in the scene,
like the very first one. Is that right?
Yeah. So I think they move where he tells Dunc about the vision in the book. I think you're right. I think you get the.
He sees him in the
you slay a great black dragon whose wings could cover this field.
Yes, he does say in the Baratheon tent or whatever.
He says it. He says it in the like tavern tent to Dunc instead.
And I don't. I mean, not that I guess that doesn't really matter, but it's one of these changes I don't really understand because like he's very clearly a Targaryen, right?
Yeah.
when you meet him in the inn, so.
But I guess.
You could have made the whole thing slightly more sinister, right?
Is he? I mean, we know he is because we know it's Daron. But if you...
he's well dressed. He's got the hair.
That's true. It's true.
But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's not immediately obvious. I feel that sort of that kind of premonition, that dream, it just gives the whole thing a slightly darker vibe, right?
But if you don't know that Baelor's death is coming...
But nobody knows. Well,
I know Baelor's death's coming.
Yeah, but as in when you start reading the book, you don't necessarily know that Baelor's death is coming, right? Depends on how well versed you were in the lore beforehand. But
my point, I think, is if you're watching the show and you don't know Baelor's death is coming, and except that you've heard Daeron's premonition because of the weirdness around like angle shooting and the framing of Baelor and stuff like it might tarnish your view of everything. I guess that's my concern. So
yeah,
you just
maybe.
Take it. I suppose it doesn't really matter because you hear about Daeron's dream before Baelor dies. So maybe
I was going to say I think
maybe it's just a pacing change.
Maybe it's just maybe it's just that they didn't want to spend too much time being weirded out by Daron.
That's fair.
To then just cut to Egg on is he on Thunder at that point?
Yeah, he's on Thunder.
I think moments like that were really good, like just Duncan taking care of his horses and just doing the sort of normal duties that any man, I guess, or any person in that time.
But doing the stuff that we never see in Game of Thrones because we're always following people who have someone to take care of their horses and things like that.
Yeah. And just how important it is to have a horse. As a knight, I mean, someone even says it, right? Oh, yeah. Even a real knight without a horse if you don't have a horse. It's kind of crazy that he's got three of them, right? And he does have to sell. He does have to sell one, of course. And we get to see Steely Pate, which I think for a man who's on screen for maybe all of like 3 minutes does a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sorry, there's appears to be water dripping out of one of my windows. Just above my desk.
Better than dripping into the kitchen, eh?
Yeah, there. Shut up. Oh, bloody hell, there's loads. Shit, that's going to be a problem for tomorrow.
It feels like that might be a problem for now.
I'm going to do is I'm going to properly close that window.
Well, listeners, you can't see it, but he's looking pretty panicked. Although I guess you can see it if we ever upload this to YouTube.
I just don't know where it's... I mean, it's coming through the window, but I'm not certain if it's coming through the window or from round the window. I'll deal with it later.
That'll be something to deal with later, I think, yeah. But no, all in all, fantastic bit of TV.
Yes, definitely.
I look forward to more. I don't know when the next season's coming out.
28, I think.
That's so
27?
further away than I would have thought.
So we're getting House of the Dragon season 3 in June or July.
Oh, is that still not over? Fucking hell.
No, it's got 2 seasons to go. So maybe...
2 more seasons to go, and I couldn't even get through season 2.
They're finishing at season 4.
I might pick it up again now that I've got the bug, but...
Which is a season less than they were going to give it.
But it's just not that interesting.
I don't know how they've made dragons fighting boring, but
I think it's hard to make it not boring on screen. Because you lose the sense of realism, right? When it's just these 2 massive CGI monsters fighting each other.
Yeah, I think
it takes away from, I think, what George R. R. Martin's world is really good at, which is the fundamental very human struggles.
The people.
Like the fighting is sort of by the by almost. Because no one's exempt, right? We hear these stories of these great knights and so on, but a Baylor Breakspear can still get his head caved in completely accidentally almost. It's such a perfect example of George R. R. Martin's philosophy on these stories.
And then his son just dies of the plague, just like anyone does.
I mean, spoilers, but Egg and Dunc also die pretty gnarly deaths. So
yeah, they don't go out well. I'm excited to hopefully finally find out what happened at Summerhall.
I think it'll literally cut to black.
You think?
Yeah, I think we'll never find out.
I think if George gets round to writing it, they'll put it on screen. I think that's the challenge.
What, George getting George to write anything?
George R. R. Martin to write anything at all.
Although if you say, hey, George, you can spend time writing this as long as it's not Ice and Fire, he's like, oh, yes, I'm all over that.
There is more water coming through there. That's really worrying.
I feel we may have to wrap this up because you're going to just want to fix your window.
Well, there's nothing I can do.
Well, yeah.
It looks like it's coming around the edges.
That is not ideal.
They've got 2 books to adapt. They've got. I
mean, I'm really looking forward to.
Season 2.
No, the Raven.
Brynden.
Yes.
Brynden Rivers.
Yes.
Blood Raven.
Thank you, Blood Raven.
Yes,
it's not the White Raven, it's not the Black Raven. What are you talking about? The Blood Raven, yeah.
Blood Raven will be good, but I don't think we actually see Blood Raven until season 3.
No, I guess we won't. Yeah. The season 2 is going to be really interesting because there's actually. It's not that there's not much going on, but it's very reliant on like 3 characters.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Which I think will be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. No way it takes them that long to film that.
Maybe it's end of 27. That might be more accurate. I saw a graphic that had it on it. Maybe it's the end of 27. That feels like it's probably more accurate. And then we get season 4 of Host of the Dragon in 2028. That feels more right.
Yeah, that feels more right, surely.
I guess the last question to wrap up is the question on everyone's lips. Is Dunc a knight?
Well, is he a knight or is he, in fact, the best knight in the entire 9 kingdoms? Yeah, I honestly can't remember necessarily thinking about that in the books. I don't know about you.
Never thought about it until it was pointed out to me that it's not explicit in the books.
Yeah. And I think the show does a really good job of that little flashback scene with Sir Arlen where he's like, why did you never knight me? And then he doesn't quite die.
And then, but he says, get me my sword. So I think the point that the show is making and that the book is making is that it's the wrong question to ask.
Yeah.
Because Aerion was knighted.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? I think Dunc exemplifies everything a knight should be.
Yes.
So does it matter if he's actually a knight?
Yeah, I think that's the correct takeaway. I just think it has made for some very interesting and very detailed online conversations, which is always fun.
Well, it adds nice complexities, right? As in when he's nervous about knighting Raymond, is that because he doesn't want to knight Raymond? Is that because he feels a bit dirty because he himself isn't a knight and therefore wouldn't make Raymond a proper knight?
Does he not know how to? Does he not know how to?
Yeah.
Or does he not want to knight Raymond because he's worried he's going to get Raymond killed?
Yeah.
Because the only time he's ever seen Raymond fight, he loses a fight to Stefan. So I think there's a huge amount wrapped up in it.
Stefan had me in the first half, not going to lie.
Yeah.
When he's like, "Oh yes, I will do what's right. I will fight for you." And he's like,
you shall not die on my watch, Sir Duncan."
Yeah. And in fairness, I guess he didn't. So
yeah,
he wasn't a liar, at least.
The side that had Stefan on it lost. So
he's a pretty shit Fossaway, anyway.
He's a pretty shit Fossaway. Better a green apple than a wormy one.
Exactly. So many good lines in this, honestly. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think the question actually does matter. It's interesting.
He's going
down in the history books as one of the greatest knights the Seven Kingdoms have ever seen. So
yeah, he gets name checked in the second episode of Game of Thrones. Old Nan says that she could tell Bran a story of Sir Duncan the Tall.
Sir Duncan the Tall, yeah. And I think I want to say in the I can't remember if it was in the TV show, but when Jamie's flicking through the book.
Yes,
because there's a section on Sir Duncan there.
There is a section. There is a section on Sir Duncan there. Is when Joffrey says to him, "Uncle, they forgot to write all your great deeds in the book," and Jamie's like, "I hate this kid so much."
This fucking guy.
But no, you're absolutely right. It's I think it's not the wrong question, but I think it's I think it draws attention to some of the institutional failings of feudal monarchies that George is calling attention to. One theory I did see, which I thought would be very neat, is if Egg finds out, potentially when his squireship is done or what have you, and so he gets knighted by someone else, not by Dunc, because Dunc doesn't want to extend the lie, and then Egg knights Dunc to make it official, prior to Dunc joining the Kingsguard, which I quite liked. I don't know if it's true.
Who knights Egg?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
I don't know, actually, either. I didn't really know how it works in...
Who knighted Egg on the 5th? It's not explicitly said anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not. Yes.
Yeah, because I sort of wondered, is it Dunc? Yeah. Probably not.
It's not. I think it's never been written down because probably it's going to end up as a plot point.
I imagine so. Yeah. Absolutely right.
It's going to end up as a plot point that Duncan won't knight Egg, and Egg won't understand why Duncan won't knight him until eventually Dunc feels like he has to come clean. And then Egg's like, Egg will do the "Sir, you are the truest knight I have ever known." And you've lived and breathed the oath more than 100 knights of better name.
Yeah.
My father can knight me, and then I will knight you, or something like that.
Yeah. And spoilers again. I mean, Dunc almost single-handedly takes down a whole rebellion. So
yes,
well, twice if we include Lionel. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, he does single-handedly take down Lionel's rebellion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the future seasons, which is something I've not said about a Game of Thrones adjacent thing for some time. Yeah,
no, I am
can't
as well.
Wait.
No, I can't wait for season 2. I'm really happy to be back watching Game of Thrones, enjoying Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire, whatever we want to call it. I'm so
the extended universe, right?
I'm so happy that it's been so well received as well, particularly in the wake of House of the Dragon being received mediocrely. I think it's probably fair to say.
The first season did okay, didn't it?
The first season did okay, but it's just it's falling.
It's
flat.
a very different tone, right? I think it's what it needs to be, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's falling quite flat, I think.
Yeah. I hope you listeners are also very excited.
Definitely.
And come argue with us about how many kingdoms there are, in fact, in the 7 kingdoms, and I'm sure we'll all be wrong. But
we will.
Until then, thanks for listening to this episode of Expertise is Overrated. No doubt we've said some things that were either objectively wrong or downright offensive. As ever, feel free to let us know, rate the podcast or wherever you can, check out our Patreon for bonus content, and come chat to us on our Discord.
If you're lucky, we might just argue with you in one of our upcoming episodes. And if you're really lucky, we might call you an idiot. Come back next time for some more absolute nonsense.